Sodium chloride, also known as salt, is an ionic compound, has a face-centered cubic lattice. Na is present at the corners and face-centered, while Cl is present at the edges and body-centered. This can also be vice versa. Since each ion in NaCl is surrounded by 6 neighboring ions of opposite charge, the coordination of both sodium and chloride ions is C. This resulted the crystal lattice to a type known as simple cubic, meaning that the lattice points are equally spaced in all 3 dimensions and all cell angles are 90 degrees. Therefore, you can expect to see the formation of cubic crystals. To grow an NaCl crystal, we need to prepare a supersaturated solution. The first step is to heat a pan of water. The amount of water you need to boil depends on you. Since I only need a little water, so I just use 2 cups of tap water. Heat the water until it begins to bubble. That means the water starts to boil. The solubility of salt increases greatly with temperature. We will get the quickest results if we dissolve salt in the hottest water available. When we heated the water, it will spill out the molecules. The space created between them allowed more salt to be dissolved than usual. When the water starts to boil, we can start to dissolve the salt. Slow down the heat if you have to. The amount of salt depends on the amount of water you use. Since I use 2 cups of water, the amount of salt needed is about half of the cup. But again, it also depends. I suggest you dissolve the salt accordingly. Keep adding and stirring until no more salt can dissolve into the water. At this point, you should now have your supersaturated solution. The salt no longer can dissolve and starts to collect at the bottom. You can also notice a film of salt crystals forming on the surface of the solution. Carefully transfer the hot solution into another container. We will do a non-metal container. If you want to directly transfer into the glass, make sure the glass is heat safe, or else the glass might break. Make sure no salt grains are falling into the glass, because we don't want the crystals to grow around the screens instead of the string. Tie a string around a pencil or stick that long enough to lie across the top of the glass. Carefully submerge the string. Make sure the string do not touch the base or surface of the container. You can use any strings which have rough and tiny grooves. Lastly, place the glass in any undisturbed places. The crystal will start to form in just a few hours. When the water starts to evaporate, the salt crystal will form again due to the unstable state of supersaturation. The crystals start to attach around the string. These tiny seed crystals provide starting points for larger crystals. Future growth will be concentrated around these points. You can start to see the cubic shape. The crystal might grow larger and larger as the time passes. Therefore, you can stimulate for the progress. This is another option for you to get tiny cubic crystals in a short time. Pour the supersaturated solution into a flat container. Same condition, make sure there is no salt grains. Then, place the container under the sun and see the result after a few hours. You can notice the small NaCl crystals start to form. They look like tiny and transparent cubes. The solutions evaporate more, and there is more and larger cubic crystals are formed.